Application of processing and preservation technique on fruits and vegetables.
Introduction. Fruits and vegetables are the most perishable foods and are important ingredients in the human dietaries. Most of our food consists of agricultural products, which are usually seasonal and spoil quickly. To make food available throughout the year, humans have developed methods to prolong the storage life of products, which is to preserve them. The rotting process can be postponed by adding preservatives, optimizing storage conditions, or applying modern techniques. Fruits and vegetables provide an abundant and inexpensive source of energy, body-building nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. Their nutritional value is highest when they are fresh, but it is not always possible to consume them immediately. During the harvest season, fresh produce is available in abundance, but at other times it is scarce. Moreover, most fruits and vegetables are only edible for a very short time, unless they are promptly and properly preserved. Practically any fruit and vegetable can be processed, but some important factors which determine whether it is worthwhile the demand for a particular fruit or vegetable in the processed form, the quality of the raw material, and whether it can withstand processing regular supplies of the raw material.
We can preserve late summer fruits and vegetables in 4 basic ways. These include freezing, canning, pickling and drying or dehydrating. Food and vegetables-based products including fruit juice or beverages, canned fruits and vegetables, jams, pickles, dehydration vegetables, and many more.
This is the process of cucumber pickling. Pickling is the process of preserving food by aerobic fermentation in brine or vinegar. The resulting food is called a pickle. This procedure gives the food an interesting twist and flavor. Usually, vinegar is used as the pickling medium. Another distinguishing characteristic is a pH 4.6 or lower, which is sufficient to kill most bacteria. Pickling can preserve perishable food for months.
The first procedure is harvesting the cucumber. Once harvested by field workers, cucumbers are handled carefully and placed in shadow well, a ventilated area, and transported to a receiving station. At the receiving station, the cucumbers are poured out onto a conveyor where they are subjected to a cleaning process that removes the excess stems, blossoms, dirt, and other foreign matter. This step is important because trace amounts of bacteria on unwashed cucumbers can ruin the final pickle. They are then moved to an inspection station where modern machine help pick out the freshest cucumbers and remove the rotten ones, and the rest are separated by size. Then they are pasteurized in hot boiling water, which helps to kill all bacteria completely. The collected ones are then moved to another area to be cleaned. Here, they are washed over and over again.
Next, the worker will select the best cucumbers. The ones that have been bruised during the washing process will be discarded. The first and oldest method is a process known as fermentation. In this method, the cucumbers are transferred to large, airtight, fiberglass or stainless steel tanks. The tanks are filled with a brine solution, which is made up of water and 10% salt. During the storage period of about 5 weeks, these bacteria break down the sugars present in the vegetable and produce carbon dioxide. To prevent adverse effects from the carbon dioxide, the tanks are periodically degusted. Pickles made in this way have a shelf life of many months.
After the pickles have adequately fermented, the salt solution is drained. The pickles are then immersed in water to remove all of the salt they may have acquired during the cure. The pickles are typically placed in glass jars. From the filling machine, The jars are capped and moved along for pasteurization.
The other method of preservation is by direct pasteurization. In this method, the cucumbers are bottled and then exposed to the temperatures for a set amount of time. The temperatures suggested are maintain 180F to 185F 82 to 85C water temperature for 30 minutes. Most pickles are vacuum packed, which means the air is removed from the jar before it is sealed. This helps maintain the pickle taste and prevents contamination by microorganisms. In order to vacuum pack the pickles, air in the jar is replaced with steam just before the cap is sealed. When the steam cools and condenses, it creates a vacuum, reducing the amount of free oxygen present in the jar. The vacuum seal is responsible for the familiar pop that is heard when a jar of pickles is opened.
The jars are next moved along a conveyor to a labeling machine. Labels are automatically affixed, and a freshness date is stamped on the jar. From here, the jars are moved to automatic packing machines, which put them in cardboard boxes. They are transferred to pallets and shipped out to the local retailers.
First of all, in this slide presentation, there's going to be about types of processing and preservation technique: freezing, drying, canning, and pickling. Types of processing and preservation technique. There are 4 kinds or types of processing and preservation technique. One is which: freezing, drying, canning, and pickling. Freezing technique. Freezing technique is simplest and easiest way and quickest methods of preservation. Freezing costs more than canning or drying because of freezer purchase and operating costs, but it preserves more nutrients and fresh flavor. If done properly, freezing does not completely destroy bacteria, molds, and yeast that cause food spoilage, but it does significantly retard their growth. As soon as food is thawed, microorganisms will continue to grow. And freezing also shows chemical changes that affect quality and natural enzyme in food, cause flavor, color, and texture, and nutritive value changes. Freezing also slows down enzyme activity but does not stop it, and we can prevent enzyme browning in light-colored fruits by treating them with ascorbic acid and other commercial products. Freezing fruits. The process of freezing fruits, first of all, is sorting and cleaning first. Fruits are selected when they are ripened and they are not, because they are not soft or mushy. Most fruits has the best flavor, color, and food value if it has ripened on the tree or vine. Then the fruits will carefully wash in cool running water. Do not let fruit stand in water. Sort fruit, trim, and discard parts that are green, bruised, or insect damage. Peel, trim, peel, and slice fruit as directed. The second step is preparing fruits for freezing. When freezing light-colored fruits, ascorbic acid can be added to inhibit browning. Crush ascorbic tablets finely before use. 3 crushed 500 mg vitamin C tablets equals to 1.5 teaspoon of ascorbic acid. Thirdly is packaging. Pack in suitable containers for freezing. Containers should be durable, easy to handle, and moisture and vapor resistant. It helps protect fruits from absorbing other flavors and colors. Lastly is storing it inside of a freezer. Freeze fruits and vegetables as soon as possible after they are packed. If there will be a delay before freezing, keep packages in the refrigerator. Packages may be stored close together at 0 degree Fahrenheit or negative 18 degrees Celsius or below. Freezing vegetables. The process of freezing vegetables is firstly the sorting and cleaning vegetables. Select a quality vegetable. If possible, harvest vegetables in the early morning or early evening when it is cold. Prepare them as soon as possible to avoid loss of quality, and if there is a delay, store them in the refrigerator. Wash and sort vegetables in cool running water. Peel, trim, and cut into pieces as directed, and remove damaged pieces. Secondly, blanching. The There are many types of blanching, but I'm going to be explain about blanching using water. Put water in a large kettle with a tight fitting lid and bring to a rolling boil. Allow 1 gallon of water for each pound of vegetables except for leafy greens, which require 2 gallons per pound. Put a small quantity of vegetables in a wire basket, strainer or cheesecloth bag and immerse it in the boiling water. Cover kettle and boil at top heat for the required length of time and begin counting time as soon as the water returns to a boil. Cool immediately in ice water for the same length of time used for blanching. When thoroughly cool, drain and bed dry. Pack vegetables in freezer bags or container. Storing and packaging vegetables. Put vegetables in a single layer in a steamer basket or in a colander with legs suspense over boiling water. Cover kettle and heat vegetables for the required length of time. Start timing as soon as the lid is on the kettle. Steam blanching times are 1.5 times boiling water times. Cool immediately in ice water for the same length of time used for blanching. When thoroughly cool, drain and bed dry. Pack vegetables in a freezer bags or container. Drying techniques fruits, vegetables. Drying removes the moisture from the food so bacteria, yeast and mold cannot grow and spoil the food. Drying also slows down the action of enzyme that naturally occurring substance which cause foods to ripen but does not inactive them. The process of drying fruits. First layer is pre-treating the fruits by washing and rinsing and cutting fruits into suitable sizes. Place cut fruits in a solution of powdered ascorbic acids or crushed vitamin C tablets or powdered citric acid that is dissolved in water for 10 minutes before placing on trays to dry. Drying the prepared fruit. Place pieces on drying racks without allowing them to touch or overlap. Place trays in a preheated dehydrator. Initially, the temperature can be set at 145 degrees Fahrenheit when there is surface moisture on the fruit or vegetable. After 1 hour, reduce the temperature to 135 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit to finish drying. Third step is storing. The third step is conditioning fruits and storing. Condition dried fruits by packing it loosely into airtight glass or plastic container for several days to distribute the remaining moisture evenly. If condensation forms inside the container, further dehydration is needed. Storing. Lastly is storing. Unpeeled or uncovered fruits needs to be treated to destroy insect eggs that might have gotten on the fruit. Heat dried fruits in the oven at 160 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes or chill in the freezer at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or below 48 hours. For the process of drying vegetables, firstly is preparing the vegetables. Prepare vegetables for drying. Wash in cool water to remove soil and chemical residues. Trim, peel, cut, slice or shred vegetables according to the direction for each vegetable in the chart below. Remove any fibrous or woody portions and core when necessary, removing all decayed and bruised areas. Keep pieces uniform in size so they will dry at the same rate. Secondly is pre-treating the vegetables. Fill a large pot 2/3 full of water, cover and bring to a rolling boil. Place the vegetable in a wire basket or colander and submerge them in the water. Cover and blanch according to directions beginning. Timing, the water returns to boiling. If it takes longer than 1 minute for the water to come back to boiling, too many vegetables will reduce the amount in the next batch. Thirdly is cooling and drying prepared. After blanching, dip the vegetable briefly in cold water. When you feel only slightly hot to the touch, drain the vegetables by pouring them directly onto the drying tray held over the sink. Wipe the excess water from underneath the tray and arrange the vegetable in a single layer. Then place the tray immediately in the dehydrator or oven. Final step is determining the dryness of vegetable. Vegetables should be dried until they are brittle or crisp. Some vegetables will actually shatter if hit with a hammer. At this stage, they should contain about 10% moisture because they are so dry they do not need conditioning like fruits. That's all from me. Thank you.
Canning.
By heating food that has been sealed jar, the potential for food spoilage causing bacteria are eliminated. This process, known as canning, by boiling food for a certain amount of time and destroying bacteria, proper canning methods prevent third deterioration. If done correctly, canning is a significant, secure technique of food preservation. Foods are put in jars during the canning process and heated to a temperature that kills bacteria that might ruin the food or provide a health risk. When done properly, canning is a vital and secure technique of food preservation. Foods are put in jars and heated during the canning process in order to kill any bacteria that might ruin the food or provide a health risk. Canning also inactivates enzymes that could cause the food to spoil. Air is driven from the jar during heating, and as it cools, a vacuum seal is formed. Canning techniques must be used in order to properly home canned foods and avoid foodborne disease. The foodborne sickness most frequently linked to home canned goods is botulism. Canning absolutely required for preserving low-acid food is Clostridium botulinum bacterium. Boiling temperatures cause the bacterial cells to die, but they can still produce spores that can withstand these conditions. Here are steps to do a food canning. There are 3 safe ways of canning, depending on the type of food being canned. Boiling water bath method is safe for fruits, tomatoes, and pickles, as well as jams, jellies, and other preserves. In this method, jars of food are heated by being completely covered with boiling water 212F at sea level. The only secure method for canning low-acid foods is pressure canning those with the pH of more than 4 or 6. These consist of all fruits, meats, poultry, and seafood. These items need to be pressure canned because of the risk of botulism. In a pressure canner, food jars are submerged in 2 to 3 inches of water and cooked to at least 240 F. Only a pressure canner can achieve this temperature. Use the boiling water bath method only to preserve high-acid foods such as fruits, tomatoes, and pickles. The total processing time, including any adjustments for altitude, must be less than 45 minutes. The processing time is restricted because there must be enough water to emit pure steam for the full processing time, and the canner cannot be opened during processing to add more water.
Boiling water bath method.
Pressure canning method.
Atmospheric steam canner method.
Conclusions.
As conclusions, we can conclude that there were a lot of ways to preserve fruits and vegetables to prolong its shelf life, such as pickling, freezing, drying, and canning. These 3 methods can easily do at home by using the method given. By doing preservation for this fruits and vegetables, it can save our money from keep buying fruits and vegetables because they are damaged when stored for a long time.